If you've been playing bass for a little while, this video is for you. You're not a beginner anymore. You can play some songs, you know a few scales, and you might even know a little bit of theory, but you've hit a plateau and you don't know what to practice. Your technique isn't where you want it to be, and every time you open YouTube, you are flooded with lessons, exercise hacks, shortcuts, and conflicting advice sometimes. Now, what I want to do in this video is give you a few principles that can help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ted and I talk bass. I've been a professional bassist for more than 30 years. 8 of those years were spent in the bass chair with funk legend 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗎 of the Meters. I've played club dates, tours, church gigs, sessions, and blue collar gigs more than I can count, right? I've also taught music for more than a decade on the West Coast and in New Orleans. I've served as a musical director on 2 continents. I released a solo album in 2019 featuring Dr. Frank from Prince's Revolution and 𝗚𝗍𝒡 𝗦𝗍𝒡 from the NPG. I also earned my undergrad later in life degree in music from California State University, East Bay. Now, I'm not telling you that to impress you. I'm telling you that because I've spent a long time helping bass players get unstuck, including myself. So let's get into it. So the first question that I ask every student is this: what kind of music do you want to play? And who can you imagine yourself playing that music with? Be honest, because once you can answer those 2 questions, something interesting happens. Every lesson, every exercise, every YouTube short, every practice routine or must-know technique, every shiny object can be filtered through one question. Does this get me closer to my goal or further away from it? Look, most adult bass players aren't trying to become internet famous or, they're not trying to become session monsters. A lot of them want to play at church, play in a cover band, play funk, play blues, play jazz, jam with friends, just make music that they enjoy. And once you know where you're trying to go, it becomes much easier to decide what deserves your attention. Now, the second question is, do you actually enjoy learning? Not succeeding, not being good, but actually learning, because those aren't the same thing. You know, I spent years working professionally before I ever went to school. I could play, I could learn songs by ear. I was already working, but I couldn't read music. Not that you need to, but I wanted to. And at 35 years old, I went back to school. I started reading. I started studying upright. I was surrounded by younger students. And honestly, I struggled a lot. But what I discovered was that I loved learning. I loved the process. I loved the challenge, the discovery, and the gradual improvement. The thing that changed everything wasn't my talent, right? Whatever talent is. It wasn't information. It was learning how to enjoy becoming better. So ask yourself, can you embrace the suck? Can you tolerate being uncomfortable? Can you enjoy the process even when the results don't show up immediately? Because if you can learn to love learning, you'll never really be stuck. You'll just be in the middle of the next chapter. So let's talk about some principles that should guide every practice session. These apply whether you study with me, another teacher, another course, a book, or a YouTube channel. By the way, I do have a community over at tedtalksbass.com where you get exclusive lessons, a community of bass players just like yourself, and direct access to me where you can answer your questions through a weekly live call. So you can check that out in the link below. Every time you pick up that instrument, ask yourself 4 questions. Can I play it? Can I hear it? Can I see it? Can I explain it? Let's talk about the first one. Can I play it? This is the physical relationship with the instrument. Can you play a groove, a phrase, a passage, a motif repeatedly with minimal mistakes? Not once, but consistently. Or are you relearning it every time you pick up the bass? Consistency matters. Because consistency creates confidence. Next, can you hear it? Can you hear when you've played something out of context? Can you hear a note before you play it? Do you have a picture of, in your mind, what right sounds like? Because music is an audio art form, right? It's audible. Your ears should be leading that process. The next question is, can you see it? Can you visualize the neck when the bass isn't in your hands? Can you visualize the notation, the chord progression, the fingerings? When I was preparing for recital material in college, I didn't always have time to practice. I was running a business. I was newly married. I had adult responsibilities, but I had the music in my mind. I could visualize difficult passages. I could mentally rehearse fingerings when the bass wasn't with me. The bass wasn't always with me, so I had to be able to do that. The music was there. Now, the final question is, can you explain it? Could you explain what you're working on to another musician? For example, I'm working on the first 4 measures of Autumn Leaves. I'm outlining ascending arpeggios. I'm navigating a 2-5-1 progression. That's different from saying, I'm practicing this thing, or worse yet, not being able to explain what you're practicing at all. The ability to explain something is often the proof that you understand it. Strong players can play it, they can hear it, they can see it, and they can explain it. The more connected those 4 things become, the faster you improve. And that brings me to the last principle, and that is deliberate practice. Practice does not have to be fun, but you do need to enjoy the process of learning. Everything you practice should serve a purpose. Everything you practice should move you closer to your goals. Remember the first 2 questions. What kind of music do you want to play? And who can you imagine yourself playing that music with? Your practice should be helping you to answer those questions, not distracting you from them. Again, you can meet me over at tedtalksbass.com, where we have community and exclusive video resources, weekly live calls, and a community of bass players moving toward the same goal, and that is making bass make sense. Because it ain't rocket science, it's pocket science. Peace.